Good morning and welcome everyone to today's monthly Thursday live. My name is Denise Armenio and I am here to help go over some basic training and any questions anyone may have on the Genius app. So we're going to get started. I have a volunteer with me here today. So we're going to get going. Let me just start sharing my screen in just a second. And okay, so I believe you should be able to see my screen now. Catherine, you can
Yes.
mute yourself. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I entered in the first page just so everybody knows where we are before I started sharing, just to conceal all of Catherine's private information. But now after we load that and hit continue with session, this is the second page you will see. And this is just user record. So if you're a practitioner and you want to take notes on your client, you can do that by recording all the information in here. The space here will actually scroll. So as you add information, it's not limited to the space you see here. And then just make it easier, there are some other things that you could highlight if those are some of the symptoms. And this is, I find, really helpful because when you go back to a session, you can see what you worked on the last time and you can see, oh, let's just say anxiety was highlighted. You know, are you still, how is your anxiety? Do you still have it? Is it, better? I also will ask my clients to rate on a scale of 0 to 10 on how they feel that number is really for them. Basically, so they know where they started and where they feel today. So that when the client rates it, that's really for their purposes. So it helps them. So now that we're getting started, Catherine, is there anything you would like to work on specifically for yourself today in this demo? Do you have any pain, physical or emotional, that you'd like to work with?
I would probably say physical in my hips, like my
Hips.
lower back, my hips, like the sacrum, coccyx area. So in that area, I would say.
Okay. And today, right side, left
Mhm.
side, both sides?
Both sides.
And rating it on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being severe, how does it feel right now?
I'm gonna say right now it's about a 6 right now.
Okay, so you're having some discomfort. So as you can see, I wrote it in. The text is really small, which is a little bit of a pain, I know. But we can click off back pain here.
Okay.
I don't think there's, it's the hip, so we could sort of put
Painful
painful
joints.
joints in there. So is there anything else that you'd like to work on?
Uh, Okay, you know what? I haven't had eczema for a long time, and it started on my back. It's going away now slightly, but it's still there. So I'd probably say maybe eczema.
I always spell it wrong. Okay. And how bad is it, would you say?
It's pretty bad, especially considering I haven't had it for a very, very long time. It's probably about the size of my palm.
And so on a scale of 0 to 10, the 10 being severe again, how would you?
I'd say probably like an 8.
Okay. So, is there anything on here for skin? Let's just put rashes. Okay, so we can move on, but as you can see,
Okay.
you see how I fill out the user records. Obviously,
Mhm.
this is optional to fill out. I do find it really helpful to fill it out. And
Mhm.
just a quick reminder, after this session, when you enter in the user records, you
Mhm.
only will see this screen again if you if you select edit, and then this will come up so you could add new information. Otherwise, it's going to jump right to where you record your voice. So
Okay.
sometimes people wonder how to get back to this, and this is
Okay, that's
how
good to
you get
know.
back to it. You have to hit edit.
Mhm.
All right. So
Okay, good to know.
hitting begin will save this information for you, and nothing on that page is part of this scan at all. So you can write whatever notes you want on there.
Okay.
Okay, so then this is the part where we use your voice to gather some information.
Mhm.
I also want to point out, you're going to see in this purple kind of box up here, it says import client voice picture capsule import.
Mhm.
That's where you would press if you want to send some information to the Quanta capsule, or if you're doing work with friends, family, a client
Mhm.
who has the Quanta capsule. If they've uploaded their voice and their picture to you, and you click it here, all the information would populate. So their voice,
Okay.
picture. So it's really easy. And then throughout the session, you'll see where it says export frequencies. So when you run frequencies, you can then export it to that capsule too. And then
Okay.
your friend, family, or client will be able to listen to that frequency code that you've sent them for up
Mhm.
to 7 days. Once they upload it, they have 7 days
Okay.
before it expires.
Okay.
So let's get started here. I will count you down. I'll say 3, 2,
Mhm.
begin. And then I want you to repeat the vowels, A, E, I, O, U. And you'll probably need to do it maybe 4 or 5 times, depending on how slow or fast you go. You
Okay.
just fill in the full 15 seconds with that.
Okay.
Okay. So 3, 2, 1, begin.
A E I O U. A E I O U. A E I O U.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. And it's really important that you do use the vowels. The reason for this is that your vowels are kind of like hitting the different notes. So that's how the strength of that note is how the technology, it measures the frequency of it. So that's what's happening. So you're going
Okay.
to get this pop up. Listening to your personalized voice harmonic helps clear blocked energy. So that's going to actually activate this voice harmonics, which what you'll hear is the tone on how the Genius has translated your speech into a frequency, and it has so many
Okay.
benefits for you, homeopathic style benefits for you. Okay, so I just wanted to ask, are you a longtime user of the Genius, or are you a new? How long have you been using the Genius?
I'm fairly new to using the Genius. I'm going to say it's been a month.
Oh,
Um,
great.
However, I've been receiving treatments with the Genius. Let's say it's been 2 years.
Okay, awesome.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's really great. So are you just going to basically using it for home use then, or are you going to start your
For
own?
yeah, both. Right now, it's for me to just get familiar with the technology and you know, just even like what you showed here at the beginning, you know, starting the record, client's record, some of the things that you do, such as asking the client to rate. I think that's really great. So it's for me to see, okay, what are some best practices? You know, what kind of
Awesome.
flow to move through, the best flows to move through that feel good in, you know, creating a really great experience, especially for the client or the patient.
So, well, good. So I'm glad that that was helpful. I've, in my
Yeah.
practice, find
Mm-hmm.
it helpful. And I know the clients find it helpful because a lot of times, you know, your new norm becomes your baseline and you very quickly forget where you were before. So if you can kind of
Mm-hmm.
go through those notes and say, oh gosh, you remember like a month ago, your anxiety was an 8 out of 10. And now,
Mm-hmm.
oh, a month later, you're at a 3 out of 10. That's a huge improvement. I mean,
Right.
anxiety may not be gone, but you know,
That's already a significant improvement. Actually, that's a really great point that you made there, because then you can see over time what has been the progressive improvement. So that's really key and important.
so yeah, and it also allows them to be like, if it spikes, well, what caused it to spike? What's different, you know?
Right.
And it creates it allows them to have awareness of what may be going on and what might the trigger be to help you as a practitioner on where you
Mm-hmm.
want to go or pinpoint what they need to work with. So
Okay.
with that, there's also some
Mm-hmm.
great new additions. I'm not sure if you're aware of working
Mm-hmm.
with the Genius AI at all, but it does
Mm-hmm.
offer some neat insights. Just like anything, it's new with the Genius, so it's
Yeah.
getting going. I'm sure this is going to keep improving. As you know, the Chat GPT learns as it
Hmm.
goes. So,
Right.
for example, one area where we're just able to understand how it works a little better is with the voice and the formants. We already always knew that there were numbers here for the formants, but we never really understood them as well.
Right.
And the
Okay.
Genius AI really puts some meaning to that. So sometimes
Okay.
you can say things that make sense. So hopefully my Genius AI is working
Mm-hmm.
here. I just want to do the light version for right now. You can, okay, so I just did the light
Okay.
version and it brings up then some information on what those
Okay.
frequencies meant in your voice. And sometimes people just like a little bit more information and
Okay.
understanding. But so, foundational energy and vitality. It says a relatively low FO value may indicate a moderate level of adrenal tone and foundational energy. This could suggest a potential for fatigue or need for inner, inner energization.
Mm-hmm.
Um, F1, emotional and sacral center. The F1 value appears within a normal range, indicating relatively balanced emotional regulation and fluid dynamics. Now, just going back to the first one, as far as energy
Mm-hmm.
and vitality, how have your energy levels felt? Does that resonate with you or not so much?
Well, yeah, when it says the adrenal part, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so we can hit if we could go down a little bit. Let's just see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the self-esteem and digestion. This value suggests a moderate level of self-esteem and digestive function. There are no extreme indicators here, but it may benefit further exploration in the context of overall well-being.
Okay.
I'm looking to see anything that might link to the back. Um,
Okay.
It says communication and thyroid. This value is relatively balanced, indicating a general healthy communication style and thyroid function, which is great.
Okay.
Um, and then it says, based on the format and frequencies, the following areas may warrant further exploration. So adrenal
Mm-hmm.
tone and vitality, which already mentioned, is
Mm-hmm.
relatively low, may indicate a need to support adrenal function and foundational energy. Uh, emotional expression in heart lung. While not extreme, the moderate F3 value may suggest some potential or enhancing emotional expression and heart coherence.
Okay.
Selectivity and intuition. The elevated F5 value could indicate a need to balance mental activity and potentially support mental clarity or stress management. Well, that kind of ties into adrenal stuff.
Right, right. Okay.
I'm not going to go through all of this right now, but I
Mhm.
want to just keep in the back of our heads to see when we look at the main screen, what's showing
Mhm.
for adrenals. Are they showing elevated value, like in the reds or the blues?
Okay.
So explaining that with a little bit more detail as we
Okay.
get into this. I just wanted to show you that although the Genius AI is an additional add-on, it's a subscription for it. You don't need
Mhm.
to work with it, but it does offer insights and people do find it helpful. So I
Okay,
just
great.
wanted to show that. So
Thank
now we
you.
can just hit next.
Okay.
Continue. All right, I am just going to screenshot
Mhm.
you right here.
Okay.
Hold on just a second. And I'm on my laptop, so now I just have to add this to photos. And I hope I entered it in the right place. And there you are. Okay, so we could just crop some of this out if we wanted
Okay.
to. You don't have to, but you do have the ability if you wanted to do that. And then
Okay.
hit done. And then again, hit begin session.
Okay.
All right, again, you can go use the Genius AI here. I'm not going to use it right here. What it
Mhm.
does, which is really neat though, it uses like sort of like it talks about like your facial characteristics and what those may mean.
Oh.
So
Oh,
it gives you
okay.
some neat information
Oh, wow.
in
Okay.
there. Okay, and now we're just going to hit next. Okay, so now it's asking for an energetic affirmation.
Mhm.
So this is kind of similar. You can type in any affirmation you may be working with. I can, if you have one, I'm happy to use that, or I can use the one that I like to use.
Okay. Oh, I usually I am healthy and wealthy.
Okay. Okay, and so when you hit OK, basically what happens here, it translates your written text
Mhm.
into a frequency, much like it translates your voice into a frequency. And
Right.
then that frequency is like layered every time
Mhm.
you run a session. So every time
Okay.
within this session you run frequencies, it's also going to be running the frequency for this affirmation right here.
Okay, got it.
All right. So now everybody will see body, mind, and biofield.
Mhm.
If you have created or purchased libraries or another Genius user has shared libraries with them,
Mhm.
would then see this banner here.
Okay.
If you don't see it, that's probably because you don't have any libraries or anything yet, but we're
Mhm.
working with the same software.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm just going to hit, it says begin session, but it's really going to do an analysis right now. We haven't
Okay.
done yet. Okay, so I'm going to go over the colors and the numbers in just 1 minute, but while
Mhm.
it's still fresh in our heads, I want to look and see if adrenals pop up anywhere. So this
Mhm.
is under today's stress. So adrenal is showing at 280, which is kind of on the low side. So
Right.
is some stress, and that would indicate, because it's sort of on the low side, that it's more of like a chronic thing. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. If
Okay.
it were higher up, it would mean that it's like needs attention right now.
Okay,
So
got it.
I'm going to review that all in a minute, but I just wanted
Okay.
you to see in this example, it doesn't mean that it doesn't need attention. It's just that these other areas right here that are red are what's like signaling like, I need help now.
Okay, got it. Yes. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the next thing I want to look at, just before we get distracted, is if we go down to the bio field and click on,
Mm.
we can see what your before aura looks like.
Oh,
So
okay,
let's just click
perfect.
on that,
Yes.
and I'll hit begin.
Okay.
Okay, I am just going to hit hide
Mm.
avatar so we can see the whole aura.
Okay.
Again, the Genius AI does a really nice job in going over an explanation of the aura. This is showing our auras have all different layers. The center would be what's closest to your body, and then it goes out. Ideally, we want to see bright, vibrant colors.
Mhm.
And if we see any like grays or blacks or blurriness, that's usually a sign of stagnant energy or negative energy.
Okay.
So, we want to clear that out. And working with the biofield is
Mhm.
where we would work mostly with this, especially if there was any negative energies. Your spiritual protection panel would help
Okay.
clear those issues
Okay.
in there. We can then switch to the aura field, which is just really another view. And
Mhm.
this is actually really great. The first thing
Oh,
that
okay.
I want to look that I always look at here is
Mhm.
if there is color in all four corners. If there is, that tells us that you're grounded and in your body. So
Okay.
good work. You are
Oh,
good
yay.
and you are all within your body. And we're seeing
Oh,
which has to do with your heart chakra and health and your heart chakra. So
okay.
good. This little white that you see in the center,
Yeah.
just formatting. I tend to see it on my MacBook a little bit more. You might see it on whatever device you're seeing, but it doesn't mean
Okay.
anything, that white.
Okay. Okay, good to know.
Um, and then you can go into more details with what some of these horizontal lines. You do
Yeah.
see some like a dark filter a little bit over here. So that could be an indication of, some of what we were seeing on the other view, where there's either stagnant energies or negative
Okay.
energies that are filtering through, which is
Okay.
normal for everybody. Everybody's always going to have negative energies
Okay.
that we need to clear. We pick them up from people,
Okay. It makes sense because I'm at an event right now, and so there's a lot of
of
transient
people
energy.
around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but you could pick that
Yeah.
stuff up just listening to
Yeah.
low frequency music or
Also,
low
yeah.
frequency TV shows. You
Mhm.
can just pick up stuff in there. But
Okay.
overall, you being grounded and in your body is really great.
Okay. Fantastic.
Okay, so now let's look at what the numbers and what the colors mean. So the
Mhm.
Genius works on the numerical value system. You will never see a zero value, so it really ranges from 1 to 777.
Okay.
And then that range is divided into 4 different levels. So
Okay.
the low range, which goes from 1 to 200, is uh, identified using the color blue, identifies
Okay.
the range.
Mhm.
And disturbances in this level are going to be chronic energetic disturbances.
Okay.
Um, they are what they are, oh, sorry, these disturbances are causing a crisis on the body.
Okay, got it.
And you could also think of it as like stagnant energy. They've been out of balance for a longer period of time. That's why.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Then the
Mhm.
next range would go from 201 to 450. And
Okay.
that's is observed by the color green.
Mhm.
And then from there we go from 451 to 600, and that's represented by the color yellow. And
Okay.
then 601 to 777 is represented by the color red. Items in this range, which is your high range, can often be described, well, that's acute energetic disturbances, meaning it's out
Mhm.
of balance right now. It's asking for it, your body or field is asking for attention to
Mhm.
those items right now.
Mhm.
Um, it could also be an indication of heat or inflammation. Sometimes it's referred to as over energy, where the blue items might be referred to as under energy, where they're not getting enough energy.
Okay.
And anything that's red is causing a stress on the body right now. So blue
Okay.
is crisis on the body and red is stress on the body. Um, so often you want to deal with both of them, but sometimes
Mhm.
you need to work with the red because it's what your body is asking for right
For
now
right now. Okay.
for the correction. What it's
Okay.
not telling you is, if you're looking at things like hormones or vitamins, high, the number,
Mhm.
because it's high, doesn't mean it's in excess or too much, and low does not mean it's deficient.
Okay.
Okay. Um, so these, any findings that you have here are energetic disturbances. So they wouldn't match up with an allopathic doctor's, blood test or findings.
Right.
They're not physical, they're energetic. Now,
Okay.
a lot of times they could be precursors if they're
Mm.
not balanced to what might show up, but it doesn't necessarily mean. You could have a virus or a bacterial infection that was maybe you had medicine a doctor
Yeah.
gave you to clear a bacterial infection, but you're still having symptoms. So it could mean that the physical aspect cleared, but the energetic didn't. And that's so it left that imprint, which is why you still have some symptoms or maybe symptomatic of it.
Good to know. Yeah, that's good to know.
So that's
Mhm.
what's going on. So
Okay.
everything you're seeing now on this page, oh, I'm sorry. So
Mhm.
just back to then the yellows and the greens.
Okay.
Everybody wants to know, well, what number should it be? There isn't
Mm.
one correct value that you want it at. Where I work is that between 400 and 600 is usually, that area that's, I don't
Okay.
want to say normal, but within somewhat of a balanced range. Anything outside of
Okay.
that, I like to look at. Um,
Okay.
that's
Good to
why I
know.
was saying with the greens, like even though that they're green and the colors used are a little, green doesn't mean like good, go. Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
question. So you kind of have to put some of those uh thoughts that we had or beliefs of what those colors
Okay.
mean to the side a little bit.
Okay.
Um, so if it's between 400 and 600, which is going to be mostly yellow, and then the
Mm-hmm.
top 50 of the green is going to be your 400 to 600. So most of
Okay.
the greens you're going to want to look at, um,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Now
Mm-hmm.
you have three ways to work with the frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
The first one that's easiest to use is your quick balance, which you can see down here.
Yeah.
And quick balance if I click it, will just work with all the reds and all the blues that you see on this screen. Okay.
Okay, that's
And
okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
mhm.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it's this little toggle timer on the side that you adjust to set the time for how long the frequencies will run. Now,
Okay.
if it's on 0 minutes, it's kind of like manual, which is kind of nice because you can run it for less than a minute, or
Okay.
you can run it for a minute and a half, or you could leave it running sometimes, not all the
Okay.
time, but sometimes it is beneficial to run it for, you may want to run it for an hour or 2 hours.
Okay.
Um, Now the timer goes from one, minute increments. So it goes from 1 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
So if you wanted to run it for more than 30 minutes, you would need to put it on 0.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Now, the
Okay.
other thing that's just important to note is if you should set it on 1 minute, if you stop it before the specified time is finished, it will not calculate a percent rectification for you. So if that happens,
Oh,
that's that's why. If it's
okay.
on 0 minutes, you'll get a recalculated percent rectification every time.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so there's the quick balance, then there's the quick zap, which is up top. And you can just drag. You could either drag, let's say, you want to work on all of digestion, you can just drag this line up and you
Mm-hmm.
could see 11 items entered. And if I were to click on this V, you
Okay.
see the items that are entered.
Yes.
This is the timer for it. If you
Okay.
want to run these frequencies, if you ran
Okay.
them and you wanted to export it to a capsule, you would just click that here.
Okay.
Or if you only wanted a few of these, you could X out some that you don't want. There's
Okay.
a clear all. Um, but there's a difference between the quick zap and the main hold tray that you see here down at the bottom.
Okay.
And the difference is any item that you drag into the quick zap, it runs that frequency, um, you know, just the regular frequency
Okay.
of it, which is good. But it gets a little bit enhanced when you use the main hold tray, because what happens when you add all the frequencies into the main hold tray, the
Mm-hmm.
Genius then uses algorithms. And
Okay.
what those algorithms actually do is it looks at the relationship of all the items in the tray against your energy field. So,
Ah.
and so that's really more how we're operating in everyday life. It's not just one frequency isn't just hitting us at a time, like an
Mm-hmm.
infinite amount of frequencies we're surrounded by at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So when we isolate one, it may not be out of balance. But now when that one frequency is mixed with 5 others, now it may not be happy. So
Ah.
when it's in the main hold tray, and
Okay.
you sometimes you may want to add in some items that are yellow or add all the items, because even though it shows at first glance that it may be, let's say, within that 400 to 600 range,
Mm-hmm.
when it looks at it with a group of other frequencies, it may not be within that 400 to 600 range. Or
Okay.
it could, maybe on its own, it's red or blue, but when there's other frequencies around it, now it's a little happier. So
Okay.
the main hold tray is what I work with 95% of the time.
Okay.
So that is
The difference,
just a
the
little bit more
distinction between the two.
advanced. It doesn't mean,
Okay.
the quick zap is great if you just want to work at something quick. You can just hit quick balance and
Okay.
it'll run for a few minutes. If you just wanted to do, if you wanted to just work on, I don't know, let's just say you wanted to look at hormones, right? You could just quick click the quick zap and it will
Mm-hmm.
run the blues and the reds for you, and you can just work
Ah,
um,
okay.
on those
Okay.
quickly. But again, it's not looking at how they're interacting with each other. So to get a
Okay.
more precise view of things, you would want to look at it through the main whole tray.
Whole tray. Okay, great.
Okay, so we've covered all that. Now you can also here click these little arrows on the sides, show you that
Okay.
it goes deeper. You know, this is what's
Ah,
in. Here's your coccyx that you
okay.
bothering you.
Yeah.
Um, and what else here can I show? If you go down to the biofield, this is the only example, this is the only like library that you would see this in the system overview. But if you click
Okay.
on meridians,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to give you the list of all the meridians, but you can see, you still see arrows next to all of those. That's because if you click deeper, now it lets you see each individual point within that meridian. So it allows you to be
Oh,
really specific. It's like, you know, getting your
oh,
own
wow.
acupuncture session. And you can really work with, you know, those points. And if you click on this little circle with the eye in it, it tells you what that point is for. So
Okay.
DV16 isn't, you know, it doesn't mean it's set in stone, but it basically deals with neck pain and stiffness, colds, dizziness, sore throat.
Okay.
So again, you know, you can work with the individual points, which is really helpful. And
Okay.
then, you know, you can always see where those points are.
R.
So let's, if we wanted to zoom in here, GB16 is on your head, I believe. It's right over here, like
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
at the base.
Yep,
So
that makes sense.
anyway, it's really neat to be able to work that specifically with the meridians.
Okay.
Okay, so then the other thing, again, because I have libraries,
Okay.
or have created some, you can see the banner for the custom libraries. So if you click on that,
Mm-hmm.
then it will bring those up and it will analyze all the custom libraries. In order to work with the general overview, you will need to do the analysis on these panels before the general overview will work. So
Okay.
I have a lot of panels. That's why it's taking so long.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so now I'm gonna go a little bit fast here because we only have about
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes or so to finish up.
Okay.
We want to get a little bit of work done for you.
Okay.
My
Thank you.
step one that I always work with is I want to work on all the items in the biofield and then vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. So
Okay.
you can work by adding all those items into the main hold tray on your own,
Mm-hmm.
or what I am going to show you that I use is in a library, the bioterrain master branch. And
Hmm.
within that, it has vessel priming frequencies. So it has all the
Okay.
things I just mentioned, plus a few more. I did create this panel.
Okay.
The reason I wrote begin here is that's because this is where I always begin, no matter what, in every session. So I
Okay.
can just drag and drop this.
Mm-hmm.
It does have 188 items in it. And now if I click this play button in the main hold tray, it
Mm-hmm.
brings me to the progressive insights. So now
Okay.
now it has all those 188 items. And
Mm-hmm.
when I hit begin session, it's going to reanalyze it and order it. Now in like, okay,
Okay.
Okay, so these might all be, some of the ones that are red here may not have been read before, but
Mhm.
I like to work with all the items. So I'm just going to select all, and I'm
Okay,
just going to put that on 1 minute. That's where I always start.
okay,
Oops. Okay, so great. It's saying excellent. The reason why it's saying excellent is because your average percent rectification is 61%. So that's
oh,
great.
fantastic.
Um,
Okay,
anything above 40% is considered excellent. But
okay,
really, if you had a percent rectification of 20, it's still showing a 20%,
okay,
you know, a probability of
okay.
there. I'm just going to hit OK. The other thing
Mhm.
I always like to look at are the percentages, harmony, alignment, and energy flow. It's these three percentages that make the average percent rectification.
Okay,
Um, and these are all within like 20%. Um, if it weren't, let's just say that range was larger than 20%, sometimes you can see like a harmony, maybe that's 10%, but an
okay,
energy flow that's 70%, right? And in alignment,
okay,
65. It's still going to give you a high average percent rectification, but because harmony was low, it it's not really stabilized, so it may not
okay,
hold. So
okay.
if it's if you have a really high percent rectification and you see like a large range there,
Yeah,
I would run it again. I would rather see a lower range and have these numbers closer together and more stable.
okay. That's good to know.
Okay.
Okay, or
Um,
to look out for.
because this is a demo and
Mhm.
because this is high, I'm not going to run it anymore. I
Okay,
like to try to see if I could get to 80% rectification when possible. Um,
okay.
this is still pretty good. The other thing that I always like to do, even after I've gotten the high,
Mhm.
percent rectification, I always like to hit rescan. It kind of reshuffles everything.
Okay,
And now you could just put this on 0 and run it for just a few seconds.
mhm.
You do see entities from the biofield is showing up. So maybe that's some of the little negative energy that was showing up. Don't be scared
Okay,
by this word.
okay. Yeah,
It's just everybody has them. It's just negative,
good
another name for negative energy.
energy. Okay.
So I'm gonna hit all again, but I'm just gonna run
Mhm.
it for like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, so again, you're at 50% rectification and you're within that 20%. So that's awesome. I
Okay.
also just want to mention the sounds are sounding a little um like blue blue blue. It's because it's they're running the new frequencies I just wanted to show you here. Frequency, shape, and form. It's running the new
Oh,
beta Soul Architect generator. So the sounds are sounds
ah,
a little bit different. So
okay,
if you didn't want to hear those sounds, you could put it onto imprint archetypal harmonics and it's going to sound different. Um,
okay,
that's why the what you're hearing sounds like that if your sound.
okay.
Okay, so now that we ran your the step one, which is
Mm-hmm.
working with all your foundational,
Mm-hmm.
because you want those to be as balanced as they can be before you start working with other issues.
Okay.
Then my step two, this is always my step two. Now at the top here on the system overview page, it says access general overview.
Okay.
If you click on that, what that brings up is now it shows everything from the system overview,
Mm,
all the line items and all the line items from all my 3,000 libraries. And it collapses all the categories and just puts it in numerical order, every single line item. So
okay.
you're going to look like you have a lot of reds here. Don't be alarmed by that. There are so
Mm-hmm.
many, there's probably 80,000 line items and there's only 777 places to put
Right.
items. So you're going to see a
Okay.
lot. But these are basically going to be your underlying causes. Like, and normally
Okay.
blues, because they're chronic, are like your underlying causes or your root causes to things. So
Mm.
I always recommend first, I'm going to clear my main hold trays because
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that we just had. And
Okay.
now we can start adding new. I'm kind of going to do this all in one.
Okay.
It is going to be a little bit heavy on the amount of line items, but we're not going to run it for that long, so that's okay. But I'm going to add the 50 top items and the 50 bottom items. And I'm just going to flip this so you could just see what some of these bottom items are. Now, strangely,
Okay.
do you have any issues with eggs that you're
Uh,
aware of?
no, actually.
Um,
So that maybe
so
I
it's showing that there's something there that it doesn't mean you're
yeah,
allergic to them, but there's something there.
that my body's reacting to eggs, you
Yeah,
mean?
that energetically there's disturbance there.
Oh,
So
interesting. Okay, that's
just
good
it
to
doesn't
know.
mean everything here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not linear, and it doesn't mean it's you exactly. We can have energies from people that we just absorbed if we were around them. Sometimes
Ah,
past life energies might be, in our field that are getting picked
ah,
up. So just because something shows up doesn't necessarily mean it's like something
okay,
symptom that you might have or be experiencing. So,
okay,
don't get, anxious when you look at any of these things. But I did
okay,
add the top 50 and bottom 50. So then what
okay,
to do is remove all my libraries. And now we're
okay,
just working with all the line items on the system overview page. And
okay.
now I like to add all the red items
Mm-hmm.
and all the blue items.
Okay,
So now we know we're working with everything on this, all the reds and the blues on the system overview page. So we're really
okay,
covering everything. And there
okay.
are 407 items here, so it is a little bit on the heavy side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and again, I'm going to put this to 1 minute. I'm going to select all and hit play. Okay, so now the average percent rectification is 18%, so that's on the low side. Harmony is 6, energy flow is 35. So I would run this again.
Okay,
I would put this down to 0, and I'm just going to hit it for 30 seconds to see
okay.
if that helps. Okay, so wow. It's an even 28. I haven't seen that in a
Whoa,
long time. That's pretty hard
wow,
to do.
okay.
So now again, you can see the difference. It was 18% before, but it was a large
Yes,
range. 28%, it's 28%, but it's consistent across the board.
right,
Um, we would like, you do want your energy flow to be a high number though too. So, it's a bunch of information here. What I would
okay,
do at this point is
yeah,
I would deselect all and I would just work with the lows.
okay,
You can see that they're all selected, and let's just run this for a few seconds.
okay.
Okay, so running a smaller, chunking it down and running less, your body was able to take that in. You can see went back up to
Oh,
1%.
I see that. Yeah,
And these numbers are, a
yeah,
closer more in line. You could deselect these now and hit and just work with, just work with the highs for a few
okay,
seconds. So the highs are still lower. You could
oh,
scan this
interesting.
right now.
Okay,
Because the lows were pretty high, rescanning it, it might give a new order and those may
okay,
be better. So I'm just gonna work with, sorry, my trackpad is,
that's okay,
work with the highs right now for a few seconds.
okay.
Okay, so now, we have a
Okay,
better rectification here. I'm not gonna work
yeah,
with this for all of them
mm-hmm,
longer because I want to get to now for a few minutes. We'll go over
okay,
slightly for a few minutes.
okay.
But first, as I clear this, I just want you to check in and see how you are feeling. Are your hips feeling?
Um, well, they're feeling okay right now because I've been sitting. So,
Okay. So
but
when
but
did it bother
but
you? Standing or walking or?
um oh gosh, it's usually, well, I think when I've been sitting down for quite some time. If I've been sitting for a long period of time and I haven't been walking, standing, or stretching to balance it out, that's when I tend to usually feel it.
Okay. So when you rated it earlier, it was based on how it felt earlier in the day before you
Just
down?
before, yeah, yeah, just before I came in, I sat down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But were you feeling it then when you sat down?
Oh, yes, yes.
And are you
That's,
feeling it now or no?
no, I'm not feeling it, but I did feel, I'm not sure when you did the scan, but one of them, I could feel like I felt something in my spine. So I did feel it was almost like, how can I explain it?
Something
Not,
shifted or
yeah, something shifted. It wasn't so much as of a release, but it felt like something cleared. That's what it
okay.
felt more like. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, you could always
Mm-hmm.
email me and let me know how
Okay.
it's feeling later. But um
Yes.
I always like to have my clients check in after the step 1 and 2
Okay.
because they really do, even though you're not addressing the specific symptom,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times those 2 steps alone, you'll really see shifts and
Okay.
progress, even in the system, even if you hadn't intentionally work with those specific symptoms yet.
Okay. Got it.
Um, but so now let's dive in a little and work with your symptoms.
Okay.
Because it was your hips, and there's some pain, we can go into right away. I'm just gonna drag in your spinal energy,
Okay.
okay? And then I'm gonna go into my custom libraries. I have a panel here called
Mm-hmm.
Human Body Structure. Okay, and this is a huge panel, but it's all your bones, muscles, ligaments, nerves,
Oh, okay.
so we can look here quickly.
Okay.
I'm just gonna add this because it's off and it has to do with centering
Okay.
and balance.
Mm-hmm.
But then we can go into um let's go into joints. We can see the hip is showing up right here,
Okay.
right up top.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna add all of these for you. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go back out and, oh, where did I go? Hip joints. I'm gonna add all of those. Um, lower leg ligaments of the pelvis. So the ligaments of your jaw, I added those.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Do you have any issues with your jaw? Only because this is where
I
stress and trauma is held.
y-
Because
I've been having a lot of because I've been going through detox protocols, as well as fascia release. So
oh,
there's been a lot that's been happening around my jaw, and so what I've been finding is there is an inflammation. So as those are subsiding, yeah, I'm feeling quite a bit.
so yeah, because that's was down
Yeah.
before. So here we have hip muscles and spinal nerves. Now it does show 376, but if you click it, you're gonna see, certain areas.
Ah, there
Again,
we
I'm gonna
go.
add
Yeah.
all of these.
Mm-hmm.
Um, why did it just, oh, here it is, sorry.
Okay.
Whoops. Let's just do it this way. Reds, yellows, greens, and blues. And we can do the, could not track that. And I'm also gonna add in the veins because that's gonna carry oxygen to those specific areas.
Yes.
Then
Okay.
the
Great.
last thing I'm gonna do is go to my pain library. And I'm just gonna add all the frequencies because we're low on time.
Okay.
And run this.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna run it for 1 minute and select all. Okay, so you did well here again, 51%.
Okay,
And that's pretty tight because it goes from 48 to 55. So it's pretty
okay,
stable in there.
okay,
We can end here. I'm just going to just go back and see what your aura looks like.
okay.
Um, sometimes it looks tighter, or not sometimes it looks worse after that you've gone backwards. You just need the energy. Okay, so we see here the center is bright and green, so that's good. It was kind of like a dulled color before. You can still see
Okay,
there's stuff in like this little gray or
right.
shadowing that's there that probably
Mm-hmm.
indicates some biofield stuff. Um, and we see a little bit more going on. It's not green, but you're still you're maybe slightly not as grounded as before. So
Mm-hmm.
after this, I would drink some water. You may want to get just if you can get outside in nature for a few,
Okay,
hug a
right.
tree or be barefoot for a few minutes just to center yourself. If we had more
Okay,
time, I would run some crystal frequencies on you and you could go into spiritual
okay.
protection and run grounding a little bit in there for you. But um, we don't really have more time to do that
That's
today. But
okay.
I hope you found this helpful
Yes, I did very much. Thank
and
you.
you learned a lot. And
I did.
well, good. And you can text me if you have any questions. And I'd always put my
Yes, your
in the
contact information is in
yeah, I'll
the
just
chat.
yep.
Okay.
It's Denise Armenio at gmail.com.
Okay.
And I would love to hear how you're feeling after this settles, if you're
Yes,
feel any
yes,
better.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Denise, thank you so much. Thank you so much for leading and facilitating.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And we hope to see you back here
Yes.
the first Thursday in December.
In December, right? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Okay,
Oh,
great. Thank you so
all
much,
right.
Denise.
Bye,
Thank
Catherine.
you. Okay,
And thank you to
bye.
everybody for joining us today on Thursday Live. See you next month. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.